Hey, my magical friends. Welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you the insight, guidance, tools, and amazing resources to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So for those of you that have been listening and following me for a while, you guys know that every spring I get birds that nest outside of my back door in the awning above my back door. And I document every year on my Facebook profile. So go check it out if you want to see this year's brood, the first brood. But I always document it because I feel like it's such a wonderfully magical thing to see the whole evolution of the birds deciding that they're going to nest there, building the nest, right? Her getting comfy, knowing that she's laying eggs, that they're hatching, watching them, taking pictures of them, being non-intrusive, right? But enjoying every minute of it. This year, we had 5 eggs laid, 5 eggs hatched. She booted 2 out of the nest after about 4 or 5 days. And so we had 3 birds that were allowed to mature and grow, and they flew away on Mother's Day. Actually, the last one was the day after Mother's Day, and it was the last one. It was ready to go because they go within 24 hours of the first one, right? The nest will clear out within 24 hours of the first one leaving. But the last one was just kind of hanging on, and I'd been watching them all day. I run back to the door periodically, and I saw the last one just kind of hanging out on the edge of the nest. I'm like, oh, he's ready to hop, or she, I don't know, is ready to hop any minute, right, to go off. Then my dog wanted to go out. So when I opened the back door to let my dog out, it had scared the bird, and the bird jumped and then ended up flying over to an area in my backyard because the parents weren't there. So I had to sit outside for an hour watching the bird, making sure that the parents came and found him because there are stray cats and stuff, right, in my area. So I felt like I scared it. I needed to make sure it was safe. And then about an hour later, the parents came, found it, and it flew away with the parents. So why did I give you that whole long thing? And what the heck does it have to do with spirituality, belief systems, or magic? And here is a correlation that I want to put out there because I feel like it is such an important thing for people to understand, no matter what your belief system is, whether you're working your own magic, whether you are a follower of Jesus, whether you are like whatever it is, right? Here is how that correlates to me. When I sit there, and I do this because the very first year it really hit me very deeply and made a profound change in the way that I perceive things. So those birds are in the corner of an awning. They can only see what is in front of them and like a 90-degree angle around them, right? Which is white walls. So they can see my door, the activity that's going on in my kitchen, because that's where that door leads to, and white walls. And of course, what's underneath them once they get to a point where they can see outside of the nest, right down over the nest. So they have absolutely no clue of what the rest of the world looks like. They don't even have a perception, or they may have a perception, but they don't even have a eyes-on view that there is anything other than what they are physically seeing. How does that relate to us? How does that relate to us, right? We live our life in the physical realm, understanding what we can see and believing in what we can see, feel, hear, interact with, right? We understand that. And we know, or maybe we have an inkling that there's something else going on because maybe our attention gets drawn somewhere, right? Out of the corner of your eye, there's something that goes by, or a feeling that you get, right? That somebody's watching you, whatever it is, that something, that interaction that you can't really verify through your own physical senses other than just that feeling, right? That clear sentience, that feeling that there's something more there. There might be something else, but I'm not sure because I can't see anything and I don't hear stuff all the time. If you think of those birds in that nest, they're going to hear other birds. They're going to hear cars going by. They're going to hear all that kind of stuff, but they're not going to be able to see it. So what do they think it is? Right? Like, how do they even correlate that into their own existence? So that's the first aspect of it, where you really get to understand It's not about everything that you can physically see. There is the possibility, I'm not saying for certainty, right? We all have our own belief systems and what's out there and what happens to us next. But there is that possibility that we are encapsulated in only what our view gives us, what our physical senses, right, give us. And there's a whole nother existence that we just aren't either ready to step into or that isn't meant for us to know in that moment. How profound, like from birds, right? So then the next step, if we go deeper into it, is that and those are my birds in the background, my parakeets, if you can hear them. But the next step of it is when they do mature enough, right? They've been in the nest for long enough. They've been maybe, talked to by their mama birds or whatever. And they start taking steps to leave the nest. They start growing and maturing and understanding that this isn't where they're just supposed to be. There might be something more to what they're feeling and sensing, right? Other birds are telling them from off in the distance, maybe, come on, like there's so much, just take the leap. There's so much right here. So that brings us twofold into how do the birds, the baby birds, when they are ready to leave the nest, at least these birds are red-headed house finches. These birds hold on to the edge of their nest and they flap their wings. So if they were to let go of the nest, they would probably take flight right away. Right? But they choose to hold on. They test their wings out. They make sure that their wings are ready. They're doing the things that they need to do internally and externally to get themselves ready for the next step, because their next step is a leap of faith. It is an absolute leap of faith. They have no clue what it is that is going to happen next. They just know that they are being pulled instinctively, intuitively, that they need to jump from the nest. And what do when they jump from the nest? They trust. They trust that they are not going to just plummet to the ground and die, right? Why would you do that? They trust that when they are ready to let go of the nest, when they're flapping their wings, that something incredible is going to happen. Their life is going to change. It is going to open up whole new possibilities. They're driven to do that. The difference between humans, at least I feel, humans and these birds or these animals that leave the nest is they don't have that overwhelming, overthinking fear. They may say, I don't know. They may be fearful and be like, oh shit, I got to jump. I don't know what's going to happen, right? And that kind of fear, but they don't have the overthinking fear because they don't have that capacity. They are simply working on their instinct and their feelings and that pull that they're getting from divine, right? Their divine plan. Their divine plan is that they are to grow up, hatch and grow up in that nest, leap out of it and begin their own life in the procreation. Right? Like that's what it is. So when they have to take that leap. And the biggest part of taking that leap is the trust. And that is what I feel like many people in many different belief systems battle with. It's the trust in what I'm doing, the trust in what I'm perceiving, the trust in what actions I should be taking, what should I be working on internally, externally, right? It's that trust. But more so and deeper than that, it's the trust in the divine. It's the trust in God. It's the trust in whatever universe, one, all, source, whatever you decide to call it, it's that trust. You have to give it. I always say when something good happens to me, I always say it happened because I gave it up to God. And some things I can't figure out and I'm tired of thinking about it and overthinking about it and I just can't make decisions or whatever. I just give it up to God. Now, God, I use in the term of one source, all, love, like that whole encapsulation. That's my belief system, right? There is a higher creator. I follow the teachings of Jesus. Doesn't mean I'm religious. I follow the teachings of. I work with the saints. I work with the angels. I work with universal and divine energy sources, right? So that means I have to trust in it. And that takes a long time. It's not something that all of a sudden you just go, yep, I have full and absolute belief. When that happens suddenly like that, it's usually because there's so much clarification because something major has happened, especially when for us humans, not so much animals, right? Like I said, the birds, that's their divine plan. That is all that's their purpose. That is what they are here to do, is to be able to grow, mature, leave the nest and work on procreation of their own, right? So it's that belief system, not only in yourself, or that trust, not only in yourself, but in your belief system, no matter what that belief system is. If your belief system is that there isn't a higher source, like this is it, we are living this life, and then it's a dirt nap forever, right? We just cease to exist. If that is your belief system, then there's still things that you need to trust in yourself to be able to live your most magical life while you're here in this physical realm, right? There's still an alignment no matter what belief system you have. The biggest thing, though, is just letting go and trusting. So how do we work this into those that work magic? Well, if you decide that you are going to manifest for yourself or co-create, a certain brand new car, right? And you put it out there and you do all the work for bringing this brand new car into your life, and you finish your ritual or spell cast or meditation or whatever it is for working towards that manifestation. And then you go, yeah, like that'll work. You've already poo-pooed it. You've already told universe, God, one, source, all, whatever. You've already said in that little, yeah, right. You've already negated all of the energy and the work that you just put into it because you don't have that belief system, or you don't have that trust in your belief system that you can do what you need to do and know 100% that is coming. So here's the last thing I'm going to say about this, because I got to get back to work. I'm putting some amazing things into the shop this upcoming week. And I've been watching, we get a second brood that happens, usually 2 broods per year. And I noticed this morning that the new set was starting to put their nest up there. So the last thing is, how can I correlate, or how can I give you an example of this belief, right? Like how do I do that? What the heck is she talking about? Like, how can I do that? And I bring it back to this when people like question it, like, how can I do that? Let's say that you're sitting with yourself and you are watching TV or whatever, and you decide that I don't feel like cooking dinner tonight, but I want something to eat. Right? So you're going to get something to eat. You're going to bring that into existence for yourself. You're going to create the ability for you to have something to eat. You decide that you are going to order something and have it delivered by Uber Eats or DoorDash. Let's say DoorDash. You're going to have somebody order from your favorite restaurant and have it DoorDash to your door. You go on your phone. You do all the work of searching what it is that you want, putting the whole meal together, what it is, right? Paying for it, exchanging that energy. You then put your phone down and you, without any doubt, know that that food is going to arrive on your doorstep. It may take 10 minutes, it may take 45 minutes sometimes, but you have no doubt. You place the order, you did the work, you are now have the expectation that that is going to show up on your doorstep without incident. That is complete trust. That is what you should be doing with your spiritual work as well, with your magical workings as well. Trust, 1000%. It takes a little bit to train yourself to do it. Takes a little bit to stop yourself from that overthinking, to check on something, right? But if you place your order with universe, with God, with source, one, all, whatever, if you place your order, and expect it to show up, it can't not show up for you. And lastly, make sure that you head over to the website at witchfulways.com. Grab your freebies from there. Check out the offerings that I have of items, services, and resources. Thanks so much for joining me for another podcast episode. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day. We'll chat with you again next week.